Hi everybody, a very warm welcome back to the MEC-TEC garage. As you can see, it's a complete pigsty in here as usual. I've been flitting about from Ninja to MX5 to push bike to everything. So yeah, there's been a lot going on. Today we're going to be continuing on with Poirot. Hopefully get this bodywork completely finished and possibly even ready for an MOT. So in the last video you would have seen I cut a section out of the old yellow Puma wing to repair the wing on this, and I was at the stage where I was having to shape it all into an MX5 shape rather than a Puma shape, if that makes sense. So let me get you set. Well, actually I'll show you what I've done first of all, and let's crack on and get some work done. Okay, this is what I've come up with so far. As you can see, I've got the wing resting back on the front of the MX5, and this is the panel that I've come up with, which is what I've done so far. You can see I've just curved that edge over very slightly to give it a little bit of depth, which is what the original one had. It's got a little curve on the edge of it there, which starts there and then goes down, and that is going to fit hopefully in there, something like that. Now I'm going to start getting a few tacks on this at this end up to sort of here, and then once I've got a few tacks on there, I can then start bending this piece into shape a bit more, because as I said before, this part of the wing actually falls away from that swage line there. So you can see when I hold that up, it's still kicking out a bit at that end. It's got a gap there, so I need to obviously dress that in, but I want to fix it to this end of the wing first, so that I know that at least one end of it is in the right place and can't move. So I'm just going to get a few tacks on there now, and obviously then go from there on, shaping this a little bit more to make it fit. It's getting there. It's a fairly long process, but it is getting there. Let's carry on. Rightio, as you would have seen from that bit of time lapse, that is now fully welded all the way around. I did unfortunately blow a couple of little holes here and there, but nothing too major. So what I'm actually going to do now, I've got a little bit to finish off down here, because there is a slightly bigger gap down there. I want to take the wing back off the car to do that bit, so it's easier, so I'm up the right way and not trying to do it from underneath. And I'm actually going to go over this same line on the back of the wing, because I want obviously it to be strong, and I want to grind this side as flat as it can be. So I haven't got a weak weld and it's going to be too thin. I'm going to weld it from the back side, just to obviously give it a bit of extra strength, and obviously leave the weld on the back as it is, because you don't see it. So I can leave it effectively like this. I'll clean it up obviously and give it a coat of stone chip and sealer and all the rest of it. But yeah, so, and also I'm not very happy with this edge here. As you can see, the gap gets bigger as it goes down, so I'm going to have to try and address that as well in some way, shape or form. I think it's a bit too close here and a bit too big here, so we're going to have to try and even it out one way or the other. But yeah, so at least the bottom of the wing is now solid again, albeit yellow. So I'm going to get the wing off again and go from the back, do the same again, and then I can ground the front back and make it all look nice. Let's carry on. There we go. Bottom of the wing is all ground back flat and sanded with a DA. I don't think that looks too bad. Obviously it looks a bit uneven because there's colour variations in this panel for some reason. But it's all fairly smooth. Hopefully won't need too much filler in that, so that's good. On the back there, I'll just show you the back. I've cleaned it all up a bit and we've got a nice, hang on, let me turn it around into the light. Got a nice bead of weld all the way along there now. Now I've just buzzed the top of it back with a grinder just to tidy it up a little bit so there's no sharp edges. But as you can see, I've left it a fairly thick bead so that will be nice and strong. So that is good. I want to get a little bit of rust treatment on the corner of this wing down here, just in this head, in this corner. This is the old bit of the panel that's left over. There's just a little bit of surface rust there, nothing much. I'm going to get a little bit of rust treatment on that. I'm going to give this a nice clean up with a scotch pad or whatever. As you can see, it's got yellow overspray on it from when it was on the Puma, and that square there is where the Ford sticker was, so you could see it was a Ford wing if I hadn't got that off. So that's gone. I just need to have a look at this edge now. I'm going to rest it back on the car, see. I have actually redressed that slightly, so I'm going to see what it looks like, faff around with that for a minute, get that to fit better and go from there. Let's carry on. Rightio, that is the wing back on the car, just with a couple of bolts in, and I'm quite pleased with the way that looks. It looks alright, nice and smooth. It's a little bit ripply where the weld is very slightly distorted the panel, but nothing we can't sort out. This gap here is a little bit bigger at the bottom, but I'm going to run with it because I don't think we'll see it. Once this has obviously got a bit of filler in it and stone chipped and painted black, you're never going to see that. It will just blend in. And I think because we're looking at it between silver and black at the moment, it obviously shows up more. So I think I'm going to go with that as it is. It's all fairly even all the way up, as you can see. I've not bolted it in yet properly yet. As I say, it's only like 2 or 3 bolts holding it on, so it's going to be slightly skew with, but I think we'll go with that. I want to get some filler made up, and or mixed up I should say, and we'll get some filler on there, and then we can start getting it into shape. Lovely jubbly, let's carry on. Rightio, filler's on as you saw in that bit of time lapse there, and just need to let it go off now obviously, and then we can start getting into some sort of shape. Now obviously when you do the filler work, goes without saying, you want to try and get it as smooth as you can so you've got less lumps and bumps to rub down once it goes off. Obviously it is a bit tricky sometimes because there's the shapes and things that you have to try and get, but I think I've done a reasonable job of that, so I'm just finding a bit of excess under there that I'm getting off. So yeah, we'll let that go off and maybe jump on something else while that's drying. See you in a minute. There we go, as you would have seen there, that's the first skim of filler rubbed back. You can see obviously I've gone through in a couple of places, so you can see it's not that thick. I need to do a little bit more here. There's a little low spot just there, and there's a little bit of weld showing where I've not taken the filler quite a way along enough. So I need to put just a little skim over that bit there. And I want to obviously go over this by hand with a block to make sure that it's all flat There's a couple of little pinholes down here I want to refill, and obviously want to rub this back with that circular cylinder rubbing block I've got, and make sure that's a nice straight line. And obviously if that needs any more, then I can obviously just put a little bit on top of that as well. But on the whole, that's pretty good. I'm quite pleased with that. Let's carry on. There we go, second skin is now on. As you can see, I've ended up going right the way across just to make sure it's flat. A little bit on the very bottom there, just around them holes, and a little bit in the curve, as you can see at the top there. So we'll let that go off now and get it rubbed down again, see how we get on. Let's carry on. Okay, as you can see there now, the back of the wing is all rust protected, or rust converted I should say. You can see all the black areas around here. That's had 2 coats of rust converter, so that should be more than good enough to hold that back hopefully. So I'm just going to give it a little coat of extra primer on the back there now, and then we'll be ready for some stone chip. Obviously the stone chip is quite thick, so it doesn't need too much of a primer to give it something to key to. But obviously this is etch primer, so any bare metal areas there will get a little covering. There we go. That is etch prime now. We'll let that dry and then we can give it a coat of stone chip. Lovely jubbly. Okay, as you can see there now, I've actually gone over that with some silver as well. Just a little light dusting of silver, just so it doesn't look quite so obvious that it's had a bit put in. I know it probably doesn't matter because you're never going to see it, but you know what I'm like. I've also done a bit there on the arch, buzzed it back, put some rust converter on it, a bit of silver, and same up there on that corner. It was just a little bit scabby, so I just buzzed it back, put some rust converter on it, and should be good for a good few years. So I'm going to get this wing resting back on the car again now, because in theory it hasn't got to come back off again because I've done all the back work, and we can get that last little bit of filler rubbed down on the front that I added on, and then we can get some primer on it. Let's carry on. Okie doke, as you can see from that bit of time lapse, the wing is now back on. Now it's not fully bolted back on yet. I haven't bolted up the bumper yet, or the very front bolt in the wing, but that's okay. Trying to get it so it was back on there and sort of solid. Now I've just taken these 2 bottom bolts here back out again, and I've rubbed down that little bit of extra filler that I've put in there, and I'm just going to give this a coat of the old primer now, and then we can get some new stone chip on there. That should look pretty good hopefully. Let's carry on. There we go, first coat of stone chip on the bottom of the wing. Now you would have noticed in that bit of time lapse that I didn't wipe it down in between rubbing it down with a block and putting the first layer of stone chip on. Now there wasn't that much dust, and because the stone chip is so thick, any little tiny bits of dust that's on there you won't even notice, because obviously it's got a texture to it anyway, which is why I didn't wipe it down. If it was normal paintwork, obviously it was smooth, it had to be as smooth as possible, and obviously I would have wiped it down with some panel wipe in between. But I didn't feel it necessary on that particular part, again, the more texture the better in a way, because obviously it matches in with what's there then. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that, the way that's come out. That's pretty good. So we'll let that go off, we'll give it another coat, and then we can get a little bit of silver dusted in here, same as we did on the back. So what we'll do, we'll scotch it up to this line, mask it obviously up here, we'll dust a bit of silver in down here and try and flick it up as best we can, and then full lacquer up to here, which will obviously then hopefully blend the colour in nice. And obviously once we've done that and that's all gone off, then we can finally put the black all the way down. As you can see, I've got to prep that lower bit, obviously where the silver's overlapped slightly, from when we did the silver on that quarter panel there. But alright, it's going to look pretty smart once it's done. Lovely jubbly, let's carry on. Rightio, as you can see there now, that bottom of that wing is lacquered, nice and dry. So now we can get this masking off, then mask it right the way along in one line to obviously get that black line, or the line for the black in place, I should say. Get all this masked up all the way along like we did on the other side. We can get the black put on. Let's carry on. We need to get in there now. Okay, there we are, all masked up, ready for the black to go on. I've buzzed these ends back with a little bit of 240 just to take the shine off the lacquer of both ends on the silver bits. So that should be good to accept the coat of black now. So let's crack on and get it done. Rightio, as you can see there, the black is now 2 coats thick as it needs to be. Looks pretty smart all the way along. So now I'm going to unmask this the same as we did on the other side, remask it with a soft edge, and then go over it with the satin lacquer. And then that is the bodywork complete. Woo! Right, that's the last coat on, the satin lacquer. I've only give it one coat, that's all it probably needs really. As I say, I didn't necessarily need to go over the satin black with satin lacquer as well, but I just wanted to give it an extra layer of protection. Pretty pleased with how this side's come out. It's not too bad at all. And that wing repair, as you can see there, you can't even see it. So that's really good. I'm really chuffed with that, considering that wing was pretty holy, more holy than righteous, as they say. Right. That is it for the bodywork. Thank God for that. Now we need to crack on with everything else, I guess. Right then, that is going to be it for this episode on MEC-TEC. As you've seen, the bodywork is now finally complete. Thank God for that. That was a marathon of welding, filler work and bodywork and everything else, and it did take it out of me a bit, if I'm honest, as far as time with working as well, you know. So at least the main part of that's done now. I think, hopefully, fingers crossed, there'll be one more episode on Poirot and then it will be back on the road, hopefully with any luck. We've just got a few more bits and bobs to finish off on the next episode. Nothing too major. I've got a set of front mud flaps for it, which I've had for ages, that are actually red at the moment, so I need to get those painted silver and then we can fit them on the front. It's got my back mud flaps, but it's not got front mud flaps, and it always baffled me why I didn't have front ones as well. But anyway, I've got those to put on. Yeah, so we'll carry on, hopefully finish it off in the next episode and get it MOT'd and back on the road where it should be. Thank you everybody for watching and commenting and subscribing. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button if you don't mind, and give us a thumbs up on the video. It'd be very much appreciated. I have got Instagram, which is MEC_TEC 1985, and I have got Facebook, which is MEC-TEC. If you do want to look me up on there, I put little pictures on during the week of things I'm up to. And all that is left for me to say is, if you want to join me soon for more automotive adventures, I'll see you again next time. Cheers guys.